Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. After completing Kitab al-Salam, Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah moves on to Kitab al-Ijarah. Ijarah is speaking about hiring and rentals. Before we get into some of the ahadith that he mentions, it's important to realize that there are many conditions for this contract to be correct. Three of the main conditions. The first being that both parties should know what exactly is being hired or what exactly is being rented. Are you hiring an asset, for example, to benefit from it, or are you hiring a person for their services, etc.? So there's got to be some sort of knowledge of what exactly is being hired. Obviously, under this, there are subcategories and other conditions that need to be fulfilled in order for this to be correct. The second important condition for both parties to be aware of and in agreement is that of price. What is going to be paid for this service or for usage of a certain asset, etc. The third condition is the thing being rented, the thing being hired should be something which is permissible in Islam. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah begins this book or this chapter with the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about the daughter of Shu'aib, the pious man who had met Musa alayhi salam. She is encouraging her father to hire Musa alayhi salam. And one of the things she says is, إِنَّ خَيْرَ مَنِ اسْتَأْجَرْتَ الْقَوِيُّ الْأَمِينُ. The best people you can hire are those who are strong and they are honest. Strong because they can do the work, and honest because they will not cheat you in any way. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah then mentions the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam where he says, Al-Khazinu al-Amin, alladhi yuaddi ma umira bihi tayyibatun nafsuhu ahadul mutasaddiqeen. Al-Khazin is somebody who is entrusted to guard something. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is speaking about somebody having been entrusted to look over, to guard something and to hand it out. So for example, you find at times people are hired to look after wealth and to give it out to those who are in need, or they are hired to look after books, for example, and they are ordered to give it to people who fulfill certain conditions. So look at how this person, he's looking after something and he's been also ordered to dish it out or to give it out to those who are deserving. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is speaking about somebody being hired, and he says as long as he is honest and he does that which he is supposed to do happily, sincerely, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously hoping in the reward, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam says he is considered one of those who gave charity. What is the meaning of this hadith? Obviously the person who put this guard in place wants to give out sadaqah, wants to give out charity. They themselves are not there to give out the charity, they will be rewarded. But this person also who's been hired to carry out this duty, as long as he's honest and he does that which he's supposed to do happily, sincerely, he will also be considered as one of those who gave this sadaqah. So look at the importance of being honest, no matter where you've been hired. Also look at the importance of fulfilling your job with a sincere intention, hoping in the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the hadith Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah mentions later on is the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he says that every messenger who came before was once a shepherd before being given nubuwah. So one of the Sahabah radiallahu anhum asked the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, were you also a shepherd? And he replies, yes, I used to look after some of the sheep for the people of Mecca before, and this was for a small wage, ala qararit. And this hadith shows us that obviously it's permissible for a person to hire themselves out to work in those fields which are allowed. And at the same time, look at how the best of creation, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was hired to herd sheep. Herding sheep, obviously, one of the hikam and one of the reasons and wisdom behind it is so that the Anbiya were able to develop sabr and patience for the people they would be sent to later on. Also look at how the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions the small wage. And at times in our situations, a person may need to look for a job or work in a job that may not be the best paying, but this is in order to survive. Also, at times you may find that a person may be in a job that seems to be lower in society, that's looked down upon. Even though it's been looked down upon, it's important for us to respect them. At one stage, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself herded sheep. After realizing and understanding that this contract of ijara is permissible in the Sharia, one of the hadith Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah mentions is the hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking. This is a hadith Qudsi. Allah says, ثَلَاثَةٌ أَنَا خَصْمُهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. There are three types of people I will be against on the day of Qiyamah. And one of them is وَرَجُلٌ إِسْتَأْجَرَ أَجِيرًا فَاسْتَوْفَى مِنْهُ وَلَمْ يُعْطِهِ أَجْرَهُ. And a man who hired somebody and took his services in full, benefited from what he had to give in full, yet he did not give him his wage. This shows us one of the dangers and one of the punishment of hiring people and not giving them that which is their due. Imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would stand to defend these people, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stood against those who had oppressed, what chance do they have? The last hadith I'd like to touch on before wrapping up this introductory episode is the hadith wherein some of the Sahabah radiallahu anhum mentioned that at times the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam would encourage and call the people to give sadaqah, and some of those who were poor would not find anything to give, so they themselves would go and hire out themselves. They would offer their services by carrying things on their back, etc. All this for what? All this in order to attain wealth so they could give this wealth in sadaqah. They didn't want to be from those who would just sit back and say we are unable to give. Rather, they would go out, make an effort in order to give the sadaqah. Look at the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. What a great generation they were. The best generation, the best of people after the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam. Inshallah, in the next episode, we'll go over some of the hadith that speak about rulings in ijara.